Hey everybody, this is D Hunter bringing another action figure review. Today we're going to look at the Neca Tec-Shield Batman from the old Kenner Dark Knight collection. This is a Kenner throwback action figure. Now Neca has released two other figures with the same mold, one being the Super Nintendo 1989 Batman figure, one also being the 1989 Michael Keaton Batman figure, which was movie accurate colors. This here is a repaint of the same figure, and it's sort of a throwback to the Tec-Shield Batman that Kenner made 20 plus years ago. I think it's pretty cool. They made some really cool paint variations back in the day. As I recall, Iron Wench Batman was sort of a blue and gray comic looking Batman. I would love it if NECA could continue making these figures, but I'm guessing that window is closed with McFarlane getting the line next year. This is probably going to be the last NECA DC figure we're going to get in a long time, if I were to guess. Anyway, now, a couple interesting things about this figure. This was a Loot Crate exclusive, meaning you had to purchase one of the crates from Loot Crate, get an exclusive members-only access code to be able to even be eligible to purchase this figure. Now, I saw several people online, they didn't want to buy these $40, $50, $60, $80 Loot Crates, and I sure didn't want to do it either. Some people said they were just buying like a pack of socks and then getting the code and buying them that way. Luckily, I had a guy at the Fwoosh forums, shout out to Fwoosh, that threw me his code, didn't want to use it, so I was able to buy mine off their website. Now, if you've seen any of my reviews, especially Batman related, you know that I like to get two figures, one to open, one to keep unopened, and I sure did that with this. This being a Loot Crate exclusive, it's going to be really hard to get later, but Loot Crate are just a bunch of idiots. They sent me one, even though I paid for two. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure they're going to have to send me another one, but frankly, it's really annoying. Another thing that's interesting about this, let's go and check out the packaging real quick. So as you can see, Dark Knight collection, just like the old Kenner, card back with the blister on the front. Got the 1989 bat symbol here, ages 14 up. Tec-Shield Batman, you can see Keaton's face here. Action figure. Uses his Batarang, grapnel gun, and shield suit to escape from danger. And then we've got the guy in here. Looks like he comes with Batarang, grapnel launcher, a couple of alternate hands. Now on the back side of this, it says Exhibition Dawn of the Superheroes, the DC comic story, February 16th through August 31st of 2018. Art Ludique, if I'm pronouncing that right. Now I decided to look this up. I didn't really know what this was. Exhibition Dawn of the Superheroes. It says Art Ludique has teamed up with DC Entertainment and Warner Brothers to debut the Art of DC, Dawn of Superheroes, a one-of-a-kind exhibition that celebrates DC's rich history. They have unique artwork and props there. Clearly, this was made to be an exclusive, sold there, and I don't know if there was a rights issue or if they just didn't have enough people pre-order it or if the place didn't want it, but they found a way to reuse their old exclusives, which were clearly already made, as they have these old dates printed on the back, and they found a way to re-release it, charge a little extra, and make it a quote-unquote Loot Crate exclusive, even though it's really just almost clearance release of something that they couldn't put out earlier. So found that kind of interesting. I will keep you guys informed on the comments as to how Loot Crate handles their poor picking job on this figure. So I went upstairs and dug out my unopened Batman figures from some of my many boxes, and I found the other two that were the same molds released, my unopened versions. This here was the first one they released. This was from a Super Nintendo game. It was the 1989 Keaton Batman, but he was done as sort of a black and blue purple color scheme. Then eventually later they made this guy here, movie accurate colors. I believe NECA was being pretty coy, saying they were not allowed to release that guy. And I actually was planning to make one of these into a custom, repaint him. But when they released the actual movie accurate one, I didn't have to do that. And then now we've got this guy here. Unfortunately, due to Loot Crate's stupidity, I only have one of these guys, and I'm going to be opening this one, so I don't have a complete set unopened. But I do fully expect Loot Crate to ship me one out as soon as possible. And then while I was at it, I thought to myself, let's see if I can find this old Tec-Shield Batman from the actual Kenner Dark Knight collection in my boxes and boxes of unopened figures. And I must say, it took about an hour of rummaging through stuff, but I sure did find this. As you can see, Packaging very reminiscent. They both got the large Keaton on the back, the Dark Knight collection here, the Batman symbol. It says he uses his flight pack and shield suit to escape from danger. Slightly different description than the Neca one has, seeing as how they didn't come with a flight pack, which is a little bit disappointing. I love when Neca puts her own little spin on stuff like that. They would have made a really, really cool accessory out of that. So, as you can see, packaging very similar on the front. We've got the card back, the blister front. Of course, on the back side, we've got a traditional checklist of the Dark Knight collection here. Then here, we've got this odd French exhibition ad. Now that we've taken a very in-depth look at his packaging, with no further ado, let's open him up. Alright, now that we got this figure out of the package, here he is with all of his accessories laid out. It looks like he comes with a Batarang, a Bat Grapnel Launcher, and then 2 additional hands, totaling 4 hands. Looks like he has 2 fisted hands, and then an additional right hand that's sort of semi-open, maybe right after he released a Batarang. And then he has a left hand with a small opening, able to grip a Batarang. But before we look at the actual accessories, let's check out this actual figure. So this guy here, as you can see, he's that same NECA 89 Keaton model, which I must say is one of my favorite figures of Batman that's out there. Of course, this one here has a sort of gold paint job, reminiscent of the Tec-Shield Batman that Kenner made way back when. Overall, looks pretty cool. The cape appears to be out of a different material as the last one, but we'll definitely check that out. I don't know, this part of his back looks a little wonky right here. Overall, I think it's a pretty cool novelty figure made off a kind of odd paint job from 20 plus years ago, but you know what? It hits home. Nice nostalgia mark here. Overall, pretty cool figure. And then here he is, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. So next, let's check out his actual accessories. Let's go and start off by checking out his hands. Here he is wearing his 2 fisted hands, going to beat some criminals to a pulp in the streets of Gotham. And then here he is with his open hand for his right hand, and then his very small gripping hand for his left hand. Next, let's look at his grapple launcher as well as his Batarang. As you can see, grapple launcher here, it's got 3 different colors. Got gold grapnel at the front, got sort of black gun, and a little bit of silver sculpted detail on it. This thing's decent, reminiscent of the one he had in the 89 film. Then we got the Batarang, pretty much a flat piece of plastic. Got a little bit of silver tips on the ends there. So I went ahead and dug up the accessories from both the movie accurate version of this figure as well as the NES version of this figure. As you can see, complete reuse from the movie version and Tec-Shield Batman. And you know, that's fine. I'd rather them be in these black and silver colors versus some weird Tec-Shield gold color. And then of course, the Nintendo Entertainment System version is made with purple and some black highlights. And then here he is utilizing both of his accessories at the same time. The sort of open right hand is able to grip the grapnel launcher like so. And you know what? Actually, it looks pretty good in there. And then his gripping semi-open hand for his left hand can grip the Batarang. It doesn't stand there very tight. I'd rather hold it upward, but it likes to fall out that way. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at his accessories, next let's check out the height of this figure. So from bottom to the top of the head, not the top of the ears, he's sitting at about 6 3/4 inches. And if you go to the top of the ears, just a hair above 7 inches. 6 3/4 inches translates to about 17 1/4 centimeters. So next, let's check out this guy's articulation. And if you have any of the figures using this mold, there are going to be no surprises here. So let's start off here by looking at his head. I always thought it was kind of funny. He doesn't have any traditional neck articulation. Kind of like the suit in the film. He had to move his whole body to be able to look one way. So it moves his entire cowl and chest piece here. Of course, his cape is made of cloth, completely movable. His shoulders here, they got a ball joint. They go out just a hair under 90 degrees. Of course, they go up, down, all the way around, no problem. He's got single jointed elbows. They go in about 90 degrees. There is a swivel above that. Then his wrists are on a ball joint, so they can rotate around and kind of move in and out as well. Looks like he has no ab crunch here, one solid piece in the center. Does have center of a ball joint down here that can rotate a little bit and allow him to move forward and back as well. You can kind of see, actually the articulation would be sort of under here, so I wouldn't call it an ab crunch, it's more like sort of the stomach area, but they do a pretty good job keeping his chest one solid piece, but still giving it articulation beneath. Looks like no waist swivel underneath that. Actually, no, there's another joint below here. I can see that he's got articulation above here, but this part also can move. So it's got two ball joints, one up here, one down here. Don't give you a huge range of motion going forward and back, but enough. His legs then go out and about that far, not quite 90 degrees. There is a ball joint side of there. As you can see, they can go outward, then go forward about that far, back, really not at all. He's got single jointed knees, about 90 degree bend here, and there is a swivel on top of that as well. His feet here, of course, then go up and down, and they can rock just a tad and rotate around. Next, let's check out the reuse from this figure, and I'll save you guys the trouble. 100% parts are reused from this '89 Keaton Batman. But I said earlier I thought the capes made a different material. I still think that to be the case. They're both really nice cloth capes. I feel like this '89 Batman is a little bit lighter. They do flow very smoothly. I couldn't tell exactly what material one's made out of versus the other one. But this one here seems a little bit heavier and just a slightly different flow to it. One thing I do find annoying about this guy's cape, it can very easily sort of get off track. If you pull a little bit down to the back, it can expose some of his gold, which is annoying. It can be put back pretty easily, just pulling it to the front a little better. Of course, then you gotta kind of watch for his little fins going on the inside of the cape versus the outside. Just a little bit annoying. The original Batman had the same problem, but it seems to be a little worse with this guy, at least for me. Next, let's check this guy out compared to some other action figures. Starting off with the original Kenner Tec-Shield Batman from the Dark Knight collection. As you can see, considerable scale difference. This old Tec-Shield is kind of like a mini-me of this new one. The original line was of the 5-inch scale. This guy measures about 4.5 inches to the top of his head. And this guy here is a full 7 inches. So we got a little more than 2-inch difference here. And then here he is next to the 1989 movie-accurate Neca Batman, as well as the Nintendo Entertainment System purple, blue, black colored Batman. And then here he is next to the entire collection of Neca Batman figures. In my opinion, these are some of the nicest Batman figures out there. It's a shame that Neca really can't make any more of these guys. And then here he is next to the entire Batman and related Neca collection. Like I said before, it is quite a shame that Neca cannot continue to make these figures, as they are some of the best Batman figures that I have. They usually took their quarter scale figures and shrunk them down to 7-inch scale, and found some loophole to release them at Toys R Us, whether it be with a DVD bundle or some weird exclusive. There are lots of other figures I was really hoping they would get to, like the 1966 Robin, the Batman Returns Batwoman, Catwoman, Penguin, as well as the Batman vs. Superman Batman. These guys would be excellent in the 7-inch scale, but don't hold your breath. Next, let's check them out compared with some other Batman action figures, starting with some of the larger ones and working our way down to the smaller size ones. This guy here is from DC Direct or DC Collectibles. This is from the DC Cinematic Universe line. This is a line of premium, more expensive action figures that started, had a wave of 2 figures, and then they canceled it, as DC Direct often does. And then here he is next to some DST or Diamond Select Toys action figures. These are the Bat Family or Bat Allies from the TV show Gotham. And then here he is with some of his NECA brothers. Here are some other Batman figures from the NECA company. Here he is next to some older DC Direct figures. And then here he is next to some Arkham video game figures from DC Direct and DC Collectibles. And here he is next to some more recent DC Collectibles releases. Here he is next to some Mezco 1/12 cloth soft goods Batman figures. Here he is next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics Batman figures. And then here he is next to some Mattel Multiverse Batman figures. And here he is next to some Mafex Batman figures. And here he is next to some DC Collectibles Batman the Animated Series and Timverse action figures. And then here he is next to some SH Figure Arts Batman figures. And here he is next to some Mattel Movie Master Batman figures. These are some of the smallest figures that I collect in the 6 and 7 inch scale. So overall, I'm going to say I do like this figure. Neca Batman figures are some of the best Batman figures out there, at least in my opinion. And I do like the crazy weird exclusives. This guy being a Loot Crate exclusive means he's going to be pretty hard to track down the line here. I will say maybe it's a little bit shady the way that Neca released this figure that was intended for a previous convention or exhibition and decided to just slap Loot Crate exclusive on it and release what I assume was stock they had at some warehouse for a good year or two at this point. They also made it a little bit higher than traditional retail for this type of figure, so it's a little bit annoying. If I were to rate this figure, I'd probably give him an 8 out of 10. He's one of the fun, sort of colorful variants that Kenner started way back when. This guy's a little bit less of an extreme variant compared to some of the neon pink and blue type Batmans. Tec-Shield Batman, Batman with a golden suit, a little bit different. Like I said, he's a fun figure, not very practical if you're trying to use him as a realistic Batman in your action figure world, but he's definitely fun. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.